Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of What He Said with Kevin Walker. As you can see, of course, I am Kevin Walker, the slightly goateed one. The brother to my right over here, that's Charlie Biggurs, the great. Waltrip's great. Waltrip's best.
Come on.
That's the best Waltrip had to offer right there, man.
Come on.
That's Charlie Biggurs to my right.
It's the 19.5A, in case y'all was wondering.
19.
Down the man down below, some of you might recognize if you're a Texas Tech Red Raider fan. That's Rodney Blackshear. That he now see it used to, now it's Heights, but it used to be Reagan. Rodney, so let me ask you this real quick, man, before we even get going. How many different positions did you play in high school?
Man, probably 7.
And that did you ever play on the offensive defensive line at any point?
I played some defensive end against Waltrip our last game when we run that damn wishbone. I'm trying to tackle fucking Darryl Taylor. That shit was pretty.
Hey, Kevin, Black almost beat us by himself, dog.
Really?
The funny thing was both of our homecoming game too. I don't know if you remember that, Chuck.
Yeah.
That was the largest game at that time I had ever played in. That many fans. It was probably about 4,000 or 5,000, maybe 6,000.
Yeah.
It was a lot back then, you know.
Yeah.
High school
Black he almost beat us by himself.
Wow.
I couldn't hide from. They put me a running back. They slide me up to receiver. I go to quarterback. I go to wing back. Shit, trying to win, man.
He definitely did it all. He definitely did it all that night.
Yeah, man. Funny. So we know. Speaking about doing it all, we know the game has changed. The recruiting game. That's the recruiting game has changed so much. Remember, and I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble, but do y'all remember? And I don't think they can get in trouble now for what happened in. So, do y'all remember that we couldn't use the phone in the coach's office to call our parents? Yeah. So they would sneak you in and be like, "Hey, man, go in my office and close the door. Don't let nobody know you in here."
Yes, sir.
Hey, what was that code?
There wasn't no cell phone.
Yeah, that code was like 11-11071.
Look, Black, you still remember the code?
I still remember that code.
Hey, I'm not gonna say no names, Black, but you know him very well. I used to be up in his office all the time with my feet on the bed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, man, that's how it was. Like, so, and the reason what made me think about that is now I'm looking at these NIL deals that some of these young athletes are getting. Yeah. And I was telling somebody the other day, they were talking about kids leaving and going pro. I was like, well, actually, the NIL deals are helping kids stay in school.
Yes, sir.
It's not forcing them to go pro. It's helping them stay in school, because if they got a nice NIL deal, why would you even leave school to take a chance on if you're going to have a salary next year or not?
Exactly. It was amazing. You know, my boy, my oldest son, he went to SMU, so he missed the NIL deals by a year. But some partners of his that still play on the yard over there, you know, he called them up and say, man, you know, what's the deal like? Y'all saw it maybe in the paper. SMU's NIL is across the board. It's $36K. And so, you know, they go out, they do some public speaking, they go out, do some community service, go out, do some work on behalf of the school and athletic department, and, you know, they getting broke off, man. And, you know, we used to visit the hospitals, and we used to do all those things in the community out there in Lubbock for free.
For
free back for a meal.
For a meal.
Exactly. Just to get fed if we was lucky.
Yeah, for a meal. And now they're able to capitalize on people knowing them, people understanding who they are, the school that they go to represent, things like that. And so it's I'm all for it, man. I saw the not Colorado, but I saw the North Carolina quarterback. You know, I guess somebody maybe is trying to poach him or whatever. But I'm all for it, man. I hope these young cats get all they can get while the getting is good, because we all know at the end of the day, everybody don't always get a chance to get that big payday in the NFL.
Yeah, true that.
That's 100% true.
So, Black, how'd you become a San Francisco 49er fan, man? How'd you?
Okay, when I was a kid, I said kid, probably 13, 12 years old, when the 49ers played the Cowboys. All my brothers, I'm from Houston. I love the Oilers as well, Earl Campbell, all those guys. But everybody in my family, for the most part, they were Cowboys fans. Y'all know, I'm just like Chuck. I'm from a big family, youngest of 9. It was 7 boys, and my older brothers, they love the Cowboys. Well,
yeah.
I went to my own. I want to be different. And I just remember when the catch happened, how heartbroken and disgruntled my brothers were. That's my team. And I got beat for about 2 years, but I kept on cheering for him. And then obviously when Jerry Rice got there, me being a receiver, that was just a natural progression. And because I've been riding with him, and I love it. And like I say, I talk my shit on the internet. I don't start it, but most Cowboys fans, they can't keep their mouth shut. About their team. I'm gonna tell them the truth because that's what I do. Tell the truth about themselves, and I love it. Like I said, I live in Dallas, and so it's just I go out with Sean Jackson sometimes, and boy, he be mad at me because he know I'm finna let it light into him. I dress up in all my red and gold. I don't say a word until they say something to me.
Yeah,
like Chuck be at church giving a scripture. That's what your owner said. Jerry Jones said this, so you the sucker. And I know Chuck, you coach, you work for the guy, but that is what it is. They're the marketing camps. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But they ain't gonna get no hardware anytime soon because they're gonna continue doing the things they do.
Yeah.
So, having said that, and I'm glad you brought up the fact that Chuck worked for the Cowboys. He and I talked about that earlier for the span that he was there. Chuck, what's it like being in that building, bro? And I don't, I know you weren't there doing the Emmitt Smith days of the glory Emmitt Smith days.
Right.
You came in on the tail end of that when Emmitt was on the way out, and was Troy still there then?
Troy was still there, yeah. Troy was still
there. Okay, so Michael was still there. But just being in that building, brother, can you explain? Because let me say this to everybody. This Charlie Biggurs, he was the assistant strength and conditioning coach with the Dallas Cowboys from 97 to 2000, right, Chuck?
Yes, sir.
So Chuck was the assistant strength and conditioning coach, and Coach Joe had that main spot, right?
Yeah. So
okay.
Joe, when I graduated from Tech, Joe hired me to come to Oklahoma. So I went to OU and I worked there with Joe. And in the midst of all that is when I started preaching. And so I left Joe in 96 to come back to Tyler. My wife is from Tyler. My wife's dad's a pastor. So we were getting in ministry, and I was getting serious about ministry and preaching and finding the seminaries and things like that. So we stayed in Tyler for about a year. And so one day Joe gave me a call and he said, hey man, Barry wants me to come interview for the job with the Cowboys. And I'm like, okay, what's up? So he's like, man, if I get the job, do you want to come? I'm like, well, hell yeah, I want to come.
Yeah.
So that was like the initial call. So in early February of 1997, he calls me up. I'm coaching the offensive line, and I'm the in-school suspension teacher at Tyler Lee at the time. And he calls me up and say, hey, man, we got to go to Dallas for an interview. Can you meet me down there? And I'm like, yeah. So I take the day off. I drive to Dallas, meet Joe at the Old Valley Ranch at the time in Irving. We go and we interview. Is Joe, myself, Jerry Jones, Barry Switzer, Stephen Jones, and the training staff was there as well. And so for about 7 hours, they grilled Joe. We in this room with this group of people for about 6 hours. And then all of a sudden at the end, I'm just sitting, I hadn't said a word the whole time I'm sitting there. I'm just sitting there. I'm with Joe. And at the end of the day, at the end of the meeting, Barry looks at me and he says, well, Charlie, what do you bring to the what do you bring to the table? And I had an opportunity at the moment then to chime in. Joe and I had talked about some things that we wanted to make sure they understood that I brought to the table, as well as came to the offensive line, the big guys on the D line, my ability to be able to train with them and train them at the time. And man, we left there with contracts in hand. Told Joe to be back in a couple of days, told me I had 2 weeks. And in February of 97, my wife and I moved to Dallas, man, and it was all she wrote from there.
Yeah.
That's a great opportunity, brother.
Man, it was. It's. I tell you what, man, because I caught the tail end of the triplets. Mike was there still. Emmett was there still. Troy was there.
Mm-hmm.
Woodson was there. Big E, Larry Allen, all those guys. And the awesome thing about it is, still having great relationship with a lot of those cats, even still today, has been a blessing in my life and just been awesome. But it was cool, man. Working on the biggest stage with America's team. The 3 years I was there, we were 5-11 for 3 years straight. It was Coach Swisser was the coach. I worked for Coach Campo. I coached Coach Swisser, Coach Gailey, and then Coach Campo. Then I was just working as the team chaplain with another gentleman named John Weber when Coach Parcells came in. But the crazy thing is, like I said, we 5-11 the 3 years I'm on staff, but we go out of town, Black, and it's 3,000-4,000 people every time we show the hotel to check in.
Yeah.
It's fans everywhere. It's crazy. But they were, it's America's team, and no matter they have some fans that are rabid about their team. But it was cool, man. And like I said, out of that, still today, I'll say one particular person, Greg Ellis. Greg came to the Cowboys my second year there, and we're great friends even right now today. Just had Greg at my school to kick off my mentorship program last week, and our kids grew up together. We, Mike Boys, his kids, they all grew up together, right? Coming to the games, watching the games. His wife spends the night at my house with my wife when we went out of town on road trips or vice versa, things like that. So it was awesome, man. I had a great time working with Joe, and Joe ended up being there 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. So Black, let me ask you this. Being a Hall of Famer, okay, let's get that out there.
Thank you very much.
That Rodney Blackshear, the gentleman in the bottom of the frame here, is a Texas Tech Red Raider Hall of Famer.
Yes, sir.
So, man, how did you feel, Black, in that moment? Because everybody wants to go back to where they come from.
Absolutely.
And be represented and be honored. And, man, I'm sure that was a great honor to be bestowed upon you. But tell us about the phone call, the conversation to find out, or however you find out. Tell us about that moment, man, and how it felt. How did you feel in that moment?
I felt great. The funniest thing is, up until probably 2001, 2000, I didn't even think about Texas Tech Hall of Fame until, I was playing arena ball, whatnot. And I came back 2001, 2002 to coach with Coach Leach.
Mm-hmm.
And that same season, Tyrone Thurman and Billy Joe Tolliver goes to the Hall of Fame together. I'm like, oh, they have a Hall of Fame. I knew they had it, but I didn't think about it. I'm like, man, I would like to do that one day,
Yeah.
Just my numbers match up with Tyrone and Papa Smurf, whatever this, that, and other. And I started looking into the Hall more. So I said, you know what? I've always went back to games every year. So I'm just going to make sure I continue to keep a presence so that they remember who I am. So, I go every year. I spend time. Charlie will tell you, as well, Kevin, whenever there's a function, I'm the first one, I get everybody's information and I make sure everybody stays in contact together.
Yeah.
Things are going on. So fast forward to 2012, 2013, they decide they're going to have a double T varsity club, which is, our alumni association. And myself and Rodney Allison end up being the two finalists for the position. So, I go in, that's the same, February, my mom passed away. So, I'm in Houston, coach, first time coaching high school, but I'm really not, I'm just not into the coaching part of it right now, just because I just lost my mom. And, I get a call from Texas Tech, say, hey, you apply to, we want you to apply to this position. We know you've been a big active part of it, blah, 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 this, that, the other. Long story short, I interview for the position, don't get it. Rodney Allison gets it. So I'm a little like, okay, that's fine. He's going to do a good job, and I'm going to continue to support. And then probably after I found out that decision, not even a month later, I get a phone call and say, hey, I'm thinking they calling about maybe assistant director or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, Black, this Kirby, it's Holcott at the time, just letting you know that you I know you wanted that job and you didn't get it, but you're going to the Hall this year. And man, when I say the emotions just of having lost my mom, thought I was gonna get that one position, and then just reflecting back. I can remember when I was there coaching the arena team when Robert Hall went in 2008. I was coaching U of H when Lloyd went in. And when Lloyd went in, he thought I was already in. He called me, said, "Man, are you in the Hall of Fame already?" I'm like, "No." So I started reflecting at that time, like, man, I got to find a way to, I can't play anymore. But again, I just kind of kept my presence about it. Always, was active and still am. Because I'm a proud Red Raider, just like all of us are. I just made sure that they knew that I had their back as a program. It didn't matter to me who the coach was. At the end of the day, we've all practiced on that field, blood, sweat, and tears. Some of us got injured there, whatnot. To me, it doesn't matter. It's about the players. It's about the guys that are red and black. The coaches may change, but once you're a Red Raider, obviously before the NIL, you're a Red Raider for life.
Yeah.
I was able to get that call and go into the Hall. Man, I thought it was a great thing. So all my family came down. My daughter, and it was truly a blessing because, as you age out, especially on as a receiver, they throwing the ball around so much now to my numbers. Still, I got a few moments that they can't take away from me. But as far as catches and all those things, there's so many guys now that have surpassed myself and several guys from that Spike Dykes era. That it was a blessing to get in when I did, and so I'm still very thankful for that, obviously.
Man, I honestly, I'll tell you what blew me out the water. Because I always do a little research before I go into my show, regardless of who I'm talking to or what we're going to talk about or what's going on, whether we go in the biblical route or if we just talking, hey, off the top of the dome about whatever. But I tell you what honestly blew me out of the water to find out after researching, freaking Michael Crabtree got 41 career touchdown catches. Yeah. I'm like, what? Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy. 41 career touchdown catches.
Yeah, so that year, those 2 years he was there, me and Robert Hall, I was the head coach and he was my DC for the arena team. So we went to every game. And he used to come to all games. He went to Carter High School like Robert, so he used to come by. We used to grill out, and he's a cool ass dude. People think he's whatever, but he was always down there with us.
Yeah.
He was a hard worker. That's the one thing I liked about some of the receivers at Tech. I'm not gonna name any names, but some of the guys, they just stepped into a situation where they just throw the ball all around. They catch passes. Wes Welker was one of them that was a hard worker. Carlos Francis was one. In my time there with Leach, I told him, I said, some of you guys couldn't have practiced with us. Not to say you couldn't play, but y'all know how to practice.
Yeah,
I watched them for 2 years, spring, a football season, another spring, and I'm sitting there saying to myself, man, if we had this opportunity in this type of an offense, we would have killed it just because of our work ethic.
Yeah.
It's gotten better. I just remember at that time, they just plug and play.
Yeah. I tell you what else was impressive to me, honestly, when I did my research for the show. I don't even know if you know this, like you're still holding on to the 20th spot in Texas Tech history for all-time receiving yards in a career. I tell you why that's impressive. If you think about how long Coach Leach was there, and even after Coach was gone, how they threw the ball around, man, for your numbers to still even be on the board in a run-first offense.
Yep, and truthfully, it was 2 years of catching the ball because I played with Tyrone and I ain't getting those. I ain't catch no passes. I caught
Tyrone
and 9 my first 2 years. So I caught
and Eddie.
And Eddie, they would stand there, and when there was a pass play, they was in there. When it was a run, they just told me to stay in the game, so I knew I was going to block. That's just it is what it was. But I love it.
But let me now hold on, no. But let me give you kudos on your blocking because again, if we go back and look at the numbers, man, James Gray is one of the greatest running backs in Southwest Conference history by the number.
Yes,
sir. We know he didn't get all the recognition and the accolades. It's like, man, that brother got some accomplishments under his belt for what he did behind Charlie Big. Charlie, how many years you blocked for him? 1 or 2?
I only blocked for JG once.
Once, okay.
I blocked for Amp. Amp and Bam were my running backs.
Yeah.
Hell, even Bam.
Yeah.
Bam got major numbers.
Yeah, Amp and Bam were my running backs. JG was leaving out my redshirt freshman year. So I was playing sparingly then when we went to All-American Bowl. I think he hit him for like 289 in the All-American.
25, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Was it against Duke? Was it Duke?
Yeah. It was ridiculous. The funny thing about that game, Lewis Sheffield, JG breaks one for about 50, 60 for a touchdown. Sheffield had just crushed the linebacker on the ice, so he tells the linebacker, man, don't worry about it. He's been doing this all year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Hey, man.
All year. Oh my God! The best thing about that game was when he took the seat in the end zone in the empty chair.
Across the street.
So man, it's some behind the scene legendary moments to be a collegiate athlete and things that go on in that dorm room. Look.
Hey, you my roommate, and Charlie, you wasn't there yet. And I'm gonna start this story off because this is just what we like to say.
Don't get me in trouble, Black. Don't get me
in trouble. I'm just gonna tell the truth. So we freshmen. It's me, Kevin, roommates. Donald Harris, Lewis Sheffield. And Donald had a Honda Civic hatchback.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think that was a Civic.
A Civic hatch. So we hanging out. We it's about a week into camp. Got a week before the students get there. We like, man, we ain't seen no women. Lewis Sheffield always been a freak. He's like, man, we can go down on Avenue Q and find us a woman. So we riding around in the Honda, just riding around, just doing some things, talk, speaking to talk, and what's that, and the other. And man, my roommate can talk now. I'm talking about you, Kevin. And we end up, I ain't gonna say the girl's name, but she went to Tech. We all know her. Should we get up in the dorm?
DC? Are you talking about DC? Okay. All right.
We could talk and talk and walk and walk and this, that, yeah. But it was funny because Lewis told me it won't be long now. Just give it a second. Oh man, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But that was a classic.
Oh my God.
Man, you remember that?
Y'all know I remember everything.
Oh my God.
I remember. You remember that, Kev?
Oh my God, I do. I do, man. I do. Like, so let me ask you guys this. I want to take this a totally different direction. So coming from Wall Trip, coming from Sterling as I did, Black coming from Reagan, you had a little more integration at Reagan with some white students and Black students. So let me ask both of y'all, and Charlie, you can go first. How big was it to make, hold on, I got a special guest for y'all coming in right now. I got a special guest. I told them I wasn't going to tell y'all that they was coming, and I see he just popped in. So let me add him on the feed real quick right here. Add the feed. Bam! There you go.
Older me.
My God.
What's up, baby?
My God. What's up?
What's up, Big Bigs? Black?
What's up, brother?
Nothing chilling, man. What's up, Kev?
Hey, man. No, man, I told him, I said, man, just jump in there whenever you get a chance. Whenever you get home from work, get relaxed. Man, just jump in. I'm going to send you the link. I ain't going to tell them you coming.
That's all right.
I feel that. Appreciate me having me on, Kev.
So look, let me tell a different story than the one I was about to tell.
Uh-oh.
So originally, look at Bobo on here. Somebody, there's a lots of women just popped.
Oh, yeah.
So originally me and Blackshear were roommates. And everybody else, Charlie, this was the year before y'all got there, man. Everybody else was kind of feuding. Not fighting, but, just really had a bunch of little stuff that they, bumping heads about. So the coaches, or I don't know who somebody organized it to where we were all going to switch roommates. Everybody was going to switch. You got to pick somebody else for whatever reason. Me and Black wasn't going to switch at first, but then we was like, well, man, let's go and do it since everybody else doing it. I'm like, dang, I didn't know who I was going to end up with. So Mac was like, shit, man, you want a room? I was like, yeah, cool. So the second semester, me and Mac ended up being roommates. Worst decision I ever made, man. This dude was never went to class, so I stopped going to class. And like, look, as long as I had Blackshear, I was passing. I was getting up going to class.
Oh my God.
Say, man, him and what was the 7-foot rapper name?
A-Train.
A-Train.
Say, man, him and A-Train just want to smoke weed. I ain't smoke weed, man. Say, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Hey, crazy.
We'd all be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if the balls at Weymouth could talk, we'd all be in trouble, boy.
Oh,
we had some moments.
We had some times in Weymouth, though. We had some times.
Man, we had some real good times, man. So what I was about to lead into, Black mentioned Coach Leach. Of course, none of us got a chance to play for Coach Leach. But here's what I believe, and y'all can tell me if y'all feel differently. I feel like when our two classes, maybe that third class that came in right after us, or right after Charlie, I feel like we set a whole new tone for Texas Tech football. And we made it okay for top-notch athletes who's being recruited by everybody in the country, like everybody on this screen was. I think we made it okay to come to Texas Tech, to come to Lubbock and be a Red Raider for Coach Dykes. So, Charlie, I'm going to start with you. Give us your best Spike Dykes story.
Oh, man. The very best one right off the call is when he's recruiting me, right?
Uh-huh.
So Coach Dykes coming down to Houston. He's at the Hobby Hilton out there on the south side, and he's doing this thing, and he's flying in and out. So he's coming down. He calls me. He says, he's coming down, and he's going to come see me and Lyric at the school. This was not maybe a week or two before we go to visit. So he gets to the school, and I say, "Hey, man, Coach, there's some nice boots you got on." Coach Dykes got some ostrich boots on. I say, "Hey, man, there's some nice boots you got on." He says, "Charlie, the strangest thing happened to me when I walked out the hotel today." I said, "What happened, Coach?" He said, "A guy told me that I had some nice-looking boots on, and he asked me if I wanted to buy some more." I'm like, "What you mean at the hotel?" He said, "Charlie, he had a trunk full of boots. He had a trunk full of boots." I say, "Coach, please tell me you didn't buy no boot from nobody in the parking lot." He said, "I bought these right here."
He got
Somebody done sold him some boots right there right out there in Houston, Texas, on the south side, right out the trunk of the car. I said, "Coach, don't do that."
And he bought them.
Don't do that.
What Blaze Town?
Hey, man, thanks, man. I tell you what, it was just so many crazy, funny stories. When you say, Kevin, talking about recruiting, fast forward to my senior year, we're having our sit down just talking, and he's asking me about, people like Johnny Pope, people that he's bringing in from Smiley, and he's got these kids coming from Carter, from Dallas, and I told him, Coach, I said, "Man, Coach, one of the things that we pride ourselves on," I'm talking about the inner city athlete, the kid coming from places that he was recruited from then. I say, we understand if the guy is better than us in front of us, that makes just work. We just got to work harder. But it's tough for us to understand when a guy's playing in front of you and he ain't better than you. I said, so we lost a lot of people out of my class. We lost a lot of people out of my class because we were having to wait.
Yeah.
We were having to wait. We were having to wait. People were waiting, like Kenneth. People like Kenneth Banks, Lyric was struggling. Fred Nixon, people like that should have been playing. And I told him, I said, "Coach, if you're gonna go get them out of Houston, if you're gonna go get them out of Carter, if they can play, you gotta let them play." In '94, when they go to the bowl game, he's got more freshmen playing then than he's ever had before at Texas Tech.
And that's where I was going with my story. So I never really went back to Lubbock much once I left. But when Coach Leach was head coach, a kid that I coached in Little League, he was recruiting. And so I went back, and Coach Dykes just happened to be there that weekend. I got to see Coach Dykes, talk to him. He pulled Coach Leach to the side. He said, "Coach, see this guy right here, Coach? if I would have played him at will linebacker, he could have played 15 years in the NFL, coach. At least 10. He could have played at least 10. He was as big, as strong, as fast, but we wanted to make him a cornerback, and he wasn't a cornerback, but they were determined on making him play cornerback. So fast forward, Coach Leach was here in Houston probably about 5 or 6 years after that. He was at my old high school. He was at Sterling recruiting the kid, and I just happened to be there. Again, just circumstance, I was there. I was like, Coach Leach, I met you once before. I played at Tech. I was like, you might not remember me. He was like, yeah, I remember you. Coach Dykes said that you should have been a will linebacker and played 10, 15. Coach Leach remember. I mean, it was just, bro, I promise this was like a 2-minute conversation I had when I met Coach Leach. But he remembered who I was 5 years later when I met him at Sterling just on a random day being on school campus. But, man, you know, playing for Coach Dykes, and this is what I was about to get to before I brought Mac in. Leaving Sterling High School, we might have maybe had 5 white kids in the whole school.
Yeah.
So to leave South Park and go to Lubbock, it was culture shock for me personally.
Yeah.
No, we talk about that all the time when we was roommates.
Yeah, it was culture shock for me. Yeah. And not only from that perspective, guys, I have to realize when I left Sterling, I was an all-world free safety and strong safety. I'd never played corner. So here you're taking a 6'2", 200-pound kid and trying to make him play corner because the numbers said I could play corner. I wasn't a corner. I knew I wasn't a corner, but they tried to force me to be something I wasn't. And if we'd have had a transfer portal back in, I darn sure would have got in it. That's for me. But I mean, that's neither here nor there at that point. But so for me, that was my story by Black. So Black, you just mentioned it. Mac, I'm gonna go to you. So what was your biggest transition or your biggest appeal going from high school to college and trying to get better, trying to get on the field like Charlie just talked about?
Well, the thing was, like y'all said earlier, like what Charlie said, let the best player play.
Yeah.
My first there with Black. I knew I could play freshman year, dog. And I ain't understand that, man. And I tell you, one game I never forget, Coach Winder came to me. We had played Arkansas, and the running backs didn't run. And he came to me, he goes, you ready to play? I said, yeah, I'm ready to play. He said, well, come see me on Wednesday, talk to Coach Dykes. So the next game, we play Rice. And he said, you going to play. Man, you know what happened then. All the running backs ran. He was my name to go in the game, didn't put me in the game. Dog, if I'd had $20, I was going back to Killeen, Texas, man. I was that transfer protocol, I'd have been out of there, man. I'd have been out. You know, I mean, I think playing 5A, we weren't too far off from college, from where we was at.
Yeah.
We weren't far off.
Yeah.
It's different here and there, but I think a lot of us was ready to play straight out of high school, but all that red shirt and want to sit your year, man, I ain't like that.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, and that's like I told him, and Mac, we lost. When I say we talk about my class, just you know, guys like Dump Truck, John Runnels, Lyric, Kenneth Banks, you know, guys like that when we came into school was ready to, you know, John's coming off of being a state championship at Dallas Carter. He ready to play the day he stepped on the field. And it was just a hard pill to swallow in those moments, and you know, with guys, and then when you're not doing what you came there to do. I understand we came there to go to school, but you know, we came there to play football. And you, like you said, Kevin, you all world, Mac, you all world, Black, you all freaking everything coming out of Houston, you know, and then you get there, you like, come on, man. You know, it's a struggle. It's a struggle trying to keep focus and stay in there and make sure that you're going to school and you're not doing the thing that makes you the happiest is getting out there on Saturday afternoon and competing.
That's the truth. I can remember y'all freshman year, Char, when we practiced for A&M, and the defense destroyed us. Remember that?
Yeah.
Larry and Spoon was transferred in.
Yeah.
Play. Boom. And Coach Winder asked him, "Look, man, I appreciate y'all. We suck right now. Can y'all let us run a play?" I remember that. We could not run a play offensively because that group that came in, they were so good as a defense. I'm like, why don't? In my mind, I'm thinking, why don't we just run their defense with these same guys, these freshmen?
Well, the funny thing is, Black, if you remember, our freshman year, we had some of the best special teams in the country, and Lyric them used to run off the field, off the sideline when it was time for punt return, kickoff return. He would say, "Y'all know this all they're gonna let us do. Y'all know this all they're gonna let us do." And I
was on every special team.
They be out there smashing. They be out there smashing people on the special teams. And the funny thing was them running off the sideline saying, "Y'all know this all they gonna let us do."
They made it count. You're right.
Yeah, I remember Coach Dykes always tells me, "Kevin, get him crunk, get him up."
Yep.
I'm like, who am I, Arsenio Hall or something? Like, what?
Oh man, yeah, man. So it was I had like all you guys on the screen, man. We had a bunch of different opportunities. I tell you, I ended up at Tech. Coach Ford came to the school.
Yeah,
and I basically had already told. It was going to be A&M because I grew up right there in Houston, right down the street from A&M. Or I was going to go to OU because I had been running a wishbone all my life. I was a wishbone offensive lineman coming out of high school.
Yeah.
Little league, wishbone, junior high wishbone, high school wishbone, or A&M, which ran the veer. And so Coach Ford came to the house. I mean, he came to the school first, and I told him, I said, "Coach, I'm really not interested. I've kind of got my 2 or 3 schools narrowed down, and I'm just waiting to take a couple visits. Then I'm gonna make my mind up." But he leaves the school and goes to the house, and he meets my mom. And my mom, she never got involved with the recruiting. It was always what Charlie wants to do. Yeah. When I get to the house, this is what she said: "A little short black man came by here." I say, "Coach Ford been by?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "I like him. He said he's from Texas Tech up there in Lubbock." And then she starts reminiscing, this is crazy, about chopping cotton in West Texas when she was growing up.
Yeah.
You need to go up there and see what he's talking about. And I'm like, "Mom, I'm not, you know how far Lubbock is from Houston? It's like 8 or 9 hours." She was like, I know you need to go up there." And heck, when I got up there, y'all was up there, man. My visit was ridiculously stupid. And I said,
Who was your host, Charlie?
Huh?
Who was your host?
James Mosley was my host, but I ended up kicking it with Sammy Walker then.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. But
who was your host, Black, when you went up?
The original Black, Eddie Anderson.
Okay.
And all that. Weed, all that. I ain't hang out with him long. Y'all know I ain't smoked back then. I hit a weed one every now and again recently, but that's 50-year-old me. But yeah, Eddie, when I got the plane, the first thing he asked me, he said, "So man, where you from?" I said, "I'm from Houston." "Do you I said, "Nah, I don't smoke no weed." He said, "How about I said, "Nah." I said, "You drink?" He said, "I drink." He said, "Oh, okay." He kept me around about an hour and carted me off on some of the other cats because he had to go do some other things. But yeah, Eddie was
Who was your host, Mac?
I had Ricky Barsaw.
Oh, Ricky Barsaw.
Yes, sir.
It seemed like they gave all of us to Eddie wasn't square, but it seemed like because I had Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson was my host. We got all the squares dudes on the team.
Man, I ended up, Mosley, what you guys know, Mosley coming out. He was an old man when he got there.
Yeah. I'm like 7 years old.
Man, let me tell you a funny story. I don't know what the hell happened when they used to do one-on-ones with the ends and linebackers, but somehow Mosley and Mac must have got into it because Mac came back to the room talking about, "Man, this old motherfucker, man, shit. I don't know why he here no damn way thinking he going to the NFL. Who want a 27-year-old rookie?" You don't even remember that, dude. Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh, goodness.
But I mean, he was mad. I don't know what Moses did to him, boy. He pissed Mac off.
Cat Daddy. I can't remember what
Cat
happened.
Daddy.
We was
Cat
back,
Daddy.
so that's what it was. He thought he was gonna handle a young nigga. He had me messed up.
Yeah. But Mac was mad. Mac was so damn mad, boy. So look, we know this guy. We know on every campus there's a legendary tough guy. Let's just talk about on the field, then we're gonna go to off the field.
All right.
So on the field, who would y'all agree is the one dude that when you talk about defined how we played football with toughness or how we wanted to play football with toughness, who's that one guy for you, Charlie, that was there while you was there? You can say, hey, man, this was probably one of the toughest some bitches walking right here.
Oh, man, without a doubt, Cliff Dirty Winston, man.
Yeah, yeah.
My homie, I can remember my freshman year, my true freshman year, and I can hear Cliff on the sideline. Big homie, don't let him do you like that, big homie. Big homie, don't let him do. Cliff was to me, he was dirty. He when I say dirty, I'm not talking about a dirty player, but when it came to tough as a son of a bitch, that was Cliff.
Yeah, yeah.
Cliff was that guy for me, and he was the one that my first year and a half there. It's like, hey man, this is college football, and I know you've been better than everybody, but you got to go. You have to be a tough son of a gun to do what you're talking about doing. And he was the one that actually began to bring that out of me. Now, I'll give you a quick story about the reason. So my freshman year, we're living in the dorm. Cliff, for some reason, Cliff and Charlie Lott, they in the dorm. I don't know, that's a whole nother story. I don't know why they living in the dorm. But we drinking Jim Beam. Charlie Lott got me drinking Jim Beam. We got a whole gallon of it. He's sitting in the hall. And then so Cliff gonna toughen me up. So now me and Cliff, we out there throwing body blows on each other. He hit me, I'm hitting him. He hit me, I'm hitting him. We stand in the hallway body blowing. So the next morning, I get a knock at the door. I wake up, me and Lyric get out, I'm like, man, why am I all bruised up? And Cliff come in the room and say, big homie, man, what we do last night? Why am I all bruised? I said, I think we was boxing in the hall.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Cliff Winston. It's Cliff Winston.
Who would you say that guy is for you, Mac?
Shit, Big E, dog.
I knew you were going there.
Hey, man, say, dog, Big E was my guy, man. Watching him. I remember we played A&M that one year, man. Man, dog, he told the whole wrecking crew up. Those line with them kids, man. And he was just physical, could run, block, kick, and was tough, dog. So that was my guy. And he took me on his wing, man. He the one showed me the ropes, like Dirty's showed. Dirty also showed Amp the ropes too. Because when Amp came in, Amp wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Dirty took Amp wings, man.
He definitely took Amp under his wing. You're right about that.
Amp, right, man. But my guy was Big E, man. Big E.
Big E tells me when I'm on my recruit trip, Mac, we had secrets. Big E said, hey man, if we start fighting, just hit anybody with a Jerry curl because they not with us.
So that's where I was going with on the field. Let's go off the field. Who was the craziest joker to have with you at a party where okay, it's gonna be a fight tonight, one way or the other. It's gonna be a fight tonight.
I don't know. I know who I would want to be if we was gonna fight. I want to live eating on my side. Off the muscle.
Off the muscle.
Off the muscle. I want to live eating. I don't know if he ain't gonna start too well. I don't know if he starts too well. I know. I know that.
I tell you what, that boy there. Oh my God, Lyric, man, Lyric. He when we was in the dorm, he like, hey man, are we wearing dress shoes tonight? Or are we wearing our Timberlands? if we were wearing like Timberlands, that means it was gonna be a fight. I already knew. I already knew.
I'm like, hold on, dude. They say you from Houston and you walk around here with a pocket of snuff.
Hey, let me tell you a story about that. So, I remember when Lyric was he said I was going to Charlie in the room. Lyric had 15 cups of dipping cups everywhere, right? So I think it was the second time I flunked out. Me and Lyric was gonna be roommates, you know. So I'm like, man, damn. I said I don't think with all these cups, man. I said, man, I'm gonna talk to him, but man, I hope this nigga don't get mad, dog. For a box, man. I don't feel like Russell and tussle with that. I said, Lyric, man, listen, dog. I ain't tripping on you dipping, dog. I said, but just one cup. All you need is one cup. He's like, I got you, Big Mac. I was like, whoosh.
So I remember one time, Mac, you might remember this. It was a big fight at Crystal's. Somehow the commotion spilled over all the way to McDonald's. So we standing outside at McDonald's. I think we was waiting on somebody to get food or something. It was some dude talking crap to Kenneth Johnson.
Oh my
God.
Say, man, Kenneth hit this nigga one time and knocked him out. This was the first time I ever seen a dude not get knocked out and just lay up against the wall, start snoring.
That had to be my recruiting trip weekend because I saw that. I was
so
like,
that was probably that same at McDonald's, right?
I was like, oh my God.
Man, Kenneth hit this dude and put him to sleep.
Yeah, Kenneth Johnson.
Man, it was crazy, man. It was
he was out there on that McDonald's parking lot just like this.
He was out there.
It was a one-hitter quitter. It was one shot.
So the worst fight that took place on campus when I was there was athletes against alphas at that party.
Yep.
I think we were drunk. I was in the backseat of somebody's car when the fight started. And I want to say it was Dirty who threw a dude out of plate glass window.
That was Dirty.
Yeah.
I think it had Heath or whatever.
Heath Henderson, yeah. He threw Heath.
Say, man, he threw that dude out of plate glass window, Charlie. So you know how thick them windows are.
Yeah.
I was in the back seat again, in the back seat of a car, drunk. I heard the boom. I sat up and I saw somebody coming up off the trunk of the car. I'm like, I'm drunk, man. I just laid back down.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, me and E was in the New Yorker smoking, and we see something come through. Me, like, man, is this what we saying right here? I was like, I see Dirty coming through the wall. Like, oh man, he's out of here.
Yeah, man.
Ain't lying. We gotta smell like a pound.
I remember Coach Dykes came to the Sunday meeting. Remember we had them Sunday meetings every Sunday.
Yeah.
Coach Dykes came to the meeting and said, man, stay out of fast and cool. Don't go to fast and cool. Y'all we're 0-97 at fast and cool. So hold on. So the next Sunday we had our meeting. Kenneth Johnson raised his hand.
Oh, he didn't like Spike.
Yeah, he was like, Kenneth, what do you want? He was like, oh, Coach, I just wanted to tell you we won in 97 now. He's like, get your ass out. Get out. Because that boy said we was 0-97. We went back and got a win.
Went back and got a win. Oh, my God.
So, Charlie Biggurs, Pastor Biggurs, what would you right now tell 21-year-old Charlie Biggurs?
Man, I tell him to be patient, man. I look back over some things in my life, especially that moment with the Cowboys. I was so ready to I was preaching and I was doing some things and having some success in some things that I was doing ministry-wise, and I was really ready. I felt like to get into the pastorate and do some things, and I wish I would have slowed down and stayed with Joe a little while longer there with the Cowboys. Could have saved myself some headaches here and there along the way, and would have had the opportunity to continue to work with Joe Stay with the Cowboys. Like I said, Joe ended up being there 15 years, and then been able to still start the church, do the ministry, grow in my pastorate and things like that. So if I could tell a 21-year-old, and at the time I was 26, I would say, man, slow down, be patient, and the things that you want to do, you're gonna be able to do them. So I tell them to be patient.
Okay,
Did we lose the host?
Yeah, the host.
That second time.
Ghost. The host one goes. I know myself, I ain't gonna say 21, but I just should have got my ass up and went to class, man. That's my whole deal, man. You know, my dad was always, he put me into sports, he showed me that, but he always wanted me to get my books.
Yeah.
You know, always told me to do that. And out for some reason, man, I just love them streets, man. It wasn't like I couldn't do the work.
Right.
You can't do it. Don't go get to work. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of things, you know, could have been different for me if I'd have stayed in school, man. You know, even getting a degree, because that's the one reason why I went to the penitentiary. You know, I ain't had no backup plan at the league. So, you know, I got a little job here, and you know how that is. First real job in the NFL, you know, and then you go back to working an hourly job. Shit, right? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, next thing you know is on them streets. So, you know, I just, you know, sometimes you got to listen to your parents and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
On the class, it killed me, man. It killed, because, you know, back nowadays when you know, if these kids flunk out now, they got all these trainers and do all this stuff. But when I flunked out, all I did was play basketball. That was the only thing I did. Play basketball. Try to stay there. Me and James Gray try to play basketball. I'm still drinking and doing what I'm doing. So, you know, I lost a lot of my skills in 2 years. And by the time I got to the senior, I'm trying to catch it all up in 1 year. So I just wish, you know, I just would have listened, you know, to the coaches and everybody. Go to class, man. Just go to class, man. You know, so, and that's what I teach these kids I got in my organization. You know, y'all want to go to the league? I said, y'all got a better chance of winning the lottery and make it. I said, y'all get that piece of paper, because that piece of paper don't never expire. Your skill is gonna expire, but that degree will expire when you expire. So, you know, so that's the deal. You know, I should have did it at 2021. I should have took my black ass to class.
Yeah. What about yourself, Black?
Shit, for me, honestly, I would have told myself to go into the draft. That was my junior year, redshirt junior year. And Sammy had went and did the same thing in 90. And, you know, obviously my senior year, I broke my leg and, you know, still played, but it hurt me. And and the funny thing, me and Ivy Williams had a conversation about me leaving. And he told me to come back, but he said, you might do better just going in and leave. But, you know, at the time, we didn't, it's not like it is now. But I think at that age, 21, I would have definitely came out in the draft, because I was projected to go in the third round. My senior year, broke my leg and didn't realize it until I was older, and went back and looked at film from my junior year to my senior year, and I could see that gimp in my run. But at that time, I didn't see it. I was still putting up numbers. But, you know, having been a coach and knowing how to scout and everything, I saw what those scouts saw after the fact. That, you know, got hurt in 89, had a good year in 90, then got hurt in 91. So to them, 2 out of my last 3 years, I'm injury prone.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I would have definitely came out if, you know, knowing now what I knew then. I mean, knowing then what I know now, I would definitely came out early and, you know, gave myself that opportunity to. I still played arena football and had a successful career, but I always had that what if moments with myself. So yeah.
Man, the one thing I always say, the one thing I always tell myself, and I try to live by it, is that if I had a chance to redo or change anything about my past or what I've done or what I've been through, unfortunately, I would leave everything as is, because I believe I am who I am now as a father and as a man and as a person, because God had me destined to be where I am and who I am.
Yeah.
So for me, did I like the way my college career went? No, not at all. But at the end of the day, I'm a father of some great kids. And man, I wouldn't change nothing in the world. I wouldn't give anything of myself, of my earthly goods, to change nothing about where God has me in life right now. Am I perfect? No, I'm definitely flawed. But I can honestly say that from one day to the next, I try to make people around me better people. I try to help somebody be better tomorrow than they were yesterday. Because I feel like people always did that for me. And man, I'm not blowing smoke up any of you guys' ass. When I tell you, you three, I sought y'all out for a reason. Because you three guys, honestly, man, Rodney being my first roommate, Mac being my second, and Charlie just always being super cool whenever we ran across each other, regardless of where we were. Like, man, y'all are three great dudes, tremendous people.
Appreciate that.
And I just don't think that as we've grown and gone through life, of course, our challenges and our trials and tribulations, they are who we are. That's what make us what we are and who we are. The one thing I say, for me personally, that was earth-shadowing and changed my life forever is when my daughter was murdered. I think that for me was the most earth-shaking moment that an individual could go through. And I would never, ever, man, wish anything like or similar to losing a child to what I had to bear in that moment. But what I still say is that I won't change because God now has equipped me fully for the mission in which I take on a daily basis. For 31 years, I coached Little League football. I had the most dominant youth organization in the state of Texas. Look at the numbers. We got 6 national championships from it. And I helped a lot of kids get off these streets and stay off these streets because Coach Kevin had been there, done that, and I'm going to give you a better way. I'm going to give you a better way. A lot of them listened. A lot of them made it out. A few didn't. A few didn't. But the one thing I can solidly say, guys, that blood ain't on my hands because I felt like I did what God would have me to do.
That's what it's about.
You did what you did. That's all you did. What you did. You know, that interceptor, that's on them.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Man, you know, like you said, Kevin, I look at my kids, my sons, both my sons ended up playing college football. But man, they were light years ahead of where I was as freshmen in college. And I think that's because I was able to impart and to give them some life lessons from the things that we learned in school. I coached them throughout their little leagues and pop Warners and junior highs, and until they got to high school. And you know, it's funny, Christopher, his first year in college, they were running some 110s in during the summertime. And one of the coaches asked him, you know, he's like, "Hey man, you know, you pretty good at these ones." He said, "Man, I've been running 110 since I was in the 5th grade." You know? And that kind of stuff like that. But just to watch them become the people now that they become, the young men that they become, and then even to go to what you and Mac had just said, me having the opportunity to be a part of that, and then some of their friends, you know, some of their friends call me Pop. You know, some of their teammates that they were teammates with at SMU and at TCU called me Pop because we were able to, you know, I tell people all the time, if your kids come to my house, I treat them like they're my own. And you know, and I'm gonna give them what I would give mine, you know. And so my thing was always that ability, like you said, to pour into somebody and to show them a better way, to show them a different way. And Mac, I applaud you guys right now for doing what you're doing, because the little league system now, it need cats like y'all, you know, cats that have done it, been there before, done it, and they're not just talking, but y'all got real life lessons to teach the kids, and hopefully they'll grab hold to every moment they can.
Yeah, me and Mac was talking about this about 2 months ago. Remember, you know, at your restaurant, I was talking about from my experience being a college coach in high school, even middle school, how these kids are being developed. My first year at Tech, and I'm watching the receivers go through drills. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? They just going through the drills and nobody's correcting anything. And so they don't know they're doing anything wrong. And, Mac, and I've talked to Kevin as well. Me and Mac talked about it, and that's what I love. Mac said, it ain't about wins and losses. Too many little league coaches, even junior high coaches, I'm like, why are you caring about wins and losses? They want their record to show.
Right.
Let the record show by how many kids you help develop.
Yeah.
Move better at the next level. That's what to our generation coaching is about. But unfortunately, these new cats, they just want to brag and say, I won another, I did this. And again, Kevin, you won championships, but you did it the right way.
Yeah.
You gotta establish that pipeline of doing things a certain way.
What you say, Mac?
I said, the wins and losses, your championships came the right way with teaching and learning.
Yeah.
Technique and fundamentals, and that's another thing. It's just like that degree. Your technique and your fundamentals will stay with you as long as you play. You get strong, you get slower, weaker. But if you can keep your technique fundamental, you see all these offensive tackles stay in the league 15, 20 years just because they got that technique. They lost a little strength, might be as quick. But as long as you got that technique, and I tell our kids, man, you got a lot of these coaches out here get a fast kid, just run, nigga, run. Who can throw, just throw. They don't teach nothing about how to block, how to catch, nothing. So then once they get to the next level, and these kids know that, they're like, man, football ain't fun no more. Because kids ain't got to the same level as them, and it kills me. It kills me to see that. And so I tell my parents, as soon as you come to organization, if you come here to win championships, you come to the wrong spot. I said, I do give out refunds. If your kid don't get no better from day one to end of the year, I give your money back.
Yeah.
It ain't that serious. But if you get these kids right, because the kids gonna win the game.
Oh, yeah.
Kids gonna, if you get them right and they play hard, you're gonna win some games.
Yeah.
But just letting the kids just do what they want to do because he's good, and all of a sudden he gets to the 8th grade, he don't know nothing, and it's been coaching. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Because that's when it's all about technical fundamentals. Because everybody wrong up there. Every big fan. I tell people the talent, it gets closer and closer the older you get.
That's it.
It's all about that one right step, that wrong step, or whatever you do. That's all it is in the league.
The crazy thing was when I was with the Cowboys, to piggyback on what Mac just said, I watched those cats work so much on technique and fundamentals that it was crazy because everybody's good. Everybody's fast. Everybody was an All-American. Everybody was All-Conference. And now what's going to separate you from everybody else that's there is your work ethic and your technique. Those two things right there are going to keep you on the team or in the league as long as your physical body can keep you there. So I watch Eric Williams every day working on his kick slide, working on this, working on that. I'm watching Larry Allen just work on the technique, work on little things that's going to keep him in front of John Randall. I'm watching, Greg, when Greg and Greg Ellis, Greg is a technician. He worked on pass rush every single solitary day with Charles Haley and Big G. They work that stuff every single day, and that's the thing that separates. So a lot of times, when I used to tell my kids or my boys all the time, son, when you're in junior high and high school, puberty is the great equalizer. Then, because you get kids that have these growth spurts and they. 7th and 8th grade, they bigger, faster, stronger than everybody. But then by the time they get into 10th grade, and there's one particular kid that I remember that's the same age as my middle son, always bigger, always fast, always stronger than everybody in junior high. But when they got to the sophomores, juniors, Caleb was this much taller than he was. He was faster than he was, and now he's better. And I'm like, son, it's the equalizer. And now you've been working with Willie Powell over here, backpedaling, coming out your break, doing all this stuff. You're working technique now. And that's the thing that a lot of these kids don't get. But they're gonna get it from a guy like Mac. They're gonna get it from a guy like Black. That's Kevin gonna teach a kid how to play the sport at his position that he's playing at.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff, man. Again, look, thank y'all for coming on. We like an hour and 5 minutes in, and hey, I know we can sit on here and talk football all night long, the four of us. But man, I really do, man. I really do appreciate you guys coming on. Greg Burton wanted me to tell y'all what's up, man. He told me he couldn't do it, and he's like, man, send me the link. We was already on, but Greg Burton was gonna be on here with us as well. Man,
that's my guy there, man.
Oh, Greg.
And listen, if it was for Greg, man, I mean, he didn't want to hook me up with his brother, man. I mean, that's a whole different story. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Greg,
yeah.
Greg really.
Yeah. So down below me on the screen, that's Anthony McDowell, y'all. Anthony played. What you played, Anthony? 5 years, 4 years?
3. I played 3 with Tampa.
3 in Tampa.
Yeah.
Did they let you drink the water with the Redskins and you go up there for a minute?
I went up there for training camp for Redskins. Yeah, I did go up there for training camp. I barely drank the water though. Yeah.
So, man, hey, great guys. We're talking Texas Tech football. These guys are legends. These guys are legends right here on the field. Man, I just appreciate them. They all great dudes, man. They all great people. Gerald Dockery said, "What's up, Black?"
What's up, Doc? I see you. I'll be in Houston next week for the bowl game. Ask me if Mexico playing anywhere.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the other thing, man, that I'm gonna get with y'all individually on. Like, I would like to do something here in Houston, like a gala weekend for the fellas, man. Just get everybody, get Marcus, get everybody to come down to Houston for the weekend. And let's get together, have us a nice Saturday night, and then a barbecue somewhere on Sunday. You know, let's
get all for it.
Yeah, I'd like to put something like that together, man.
I'm an empty nester now. My kid's grown, baby. I can go.
You can roll, huh?
Oh, well, Charlie, speaking of Mac, we're going to be at Mac's spot Monday.
This Monday.
Round Top Pizza at 3 to 6, right back?
That's what it said, 3 to 6.
Yeah. 3 to 6. Coach Williams was supposed to have been in town, but he's not going to make it. But we're going to have a little reunion. You know, Jamie Gill lost his father last Sunday. So he's going to come out, just kind of hang out with the fellas. And again,
Black,
same thing we always do.
Man.
I'll let you know. But everybody listening, if you're ready, come on out.
Yeah, we on break now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag everybody's page, man, so that this will be on your page. And hopefully people will go back and watch and they'll make that deal with y'all, man. No, again, man, thank y'all for coming on. Thank y'all for y'all time, man. It's been a great conversation. We got to get together and do it again because I got so many ideas of stuff I want to do, man. I want to hold a camp, a 2-day camp, and, you know, just call it a Red Raider Revival and, you know, train kids and send them to different stations. And it's just something that's always been on my mind and my heart, man. I just want to do a day like that and get, you know, bring Wes Welker in town, Krabby in town, you know, and these guys who kids, they need to know that these are just normal, average, everyday dudes that made it. And as long as you stay focused, you got a chance.
Let's do it.
You got a chance if you stay focused. Mac, who would have known, Mac, that your no-rapping ass would have been 3 years deep in the league?
Hey, listen, well, we got 2 platinum albums. I don't know where they at, though.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, one time me and Kev went to the mall, and we did a demo. We did some stuff, but this is the crazy part. So we had a pep rally for Texas, right? So they went to Marcus, talking about Marcus, I want you to do a rap. So that day, man, I'm with E. I'm drunk. I'm towed out, and the pep rally's in the stadium. So they get the microphone to Marcus, and Marcus don't do nothing. So he called. He said, "Matt, come here." I said, "Kel, come on, man. Me and Kel tore that thing up."
Hey, but you know who still got theirs? Huh? You don't even remember who else was with us, do you?
Who?
Tammy was with us. Tammy still got her because I talked to her about a week ago. I was messing with her because one little part on there, she said something about my beat still slamming, the only girl in the world who could win a Grammy. When you hit this beat, you say the beat is jamming. Got all sucker lady rappers on my jammy or whatever she said.
Right, damn. Yeah.
I went off the head, but I didn't know what I said.
Yeah.
Hey,
I talked to Tammy a couple of weeks ago, man. She up there in Beaumont doing her thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me give a shout out to our boy Anthony Lynn out there, man, doing his thing. Let me give you a funny Amp comes by the dorm room one night. He say, Big, you got any gas in the Cadillac? I said, yeah. He had a jar full of change. He said, let's go get some waffles, baby. He had a jar. He said, some gas in the Cadillac. I said, yeah. He said,
Hey, man.
Let's go to
This
Burger.
boy was married at 18 years old with his wife living in the dorm.
Yep.
Come on, man. Don't act like this didn't happen at Texas Tech and women on the 4th floor.
Yep, on the 4th floor. Right there.
Wife lived in the dorm with him, and he went on to become an NFL head coach. Oh, man.
Hey, who would have thought he would have been an NFL coach, dog?
Yeah, for real.
Hey, when he had his little deal for the golf tournament here a couple of years ago, that's the first thing Max said. When everybody left, all the famous people left, was just 4 of us. And Max said, now, Amp, let's talk about this again. Who the fuck would have thought you'd been a head coach? Amp said, shit, I wouldn't either.
I am so.
Hey, when they say Amp, y'all, they talking about Anthony Lynn, who's the head coach of the Chargers. When they say Amp, they talking about Anthony Lynn.
Shit, I wouldn't either. He said, I don't know. You're right. I wouldn't have thought it either.
So is he assistant OC now with San Francisco, or what's his official title?
Assistant head coach and running backs.
Yeah.
Okay. I went down there for the Chiefs game.
Okay.
Like I said, we need to. I know I talked to you guys about it before, but every year I try to go at least to one game wherever he's at.
Yeah.
The
crazy thing is, me and Joe, we when we were at OU, well, Amp was in Denver at the time. We up at the University of Colorado, and one of the trainers come to the locker room and say, "Hey, man, somebody want to see you and Coach Joe. Some guy here want to see you." I'm thinking, I don't know no damn body in Boulder, Colorado. It's Amp. Amp, he was in Denver at the time.
Yeah.
He came down to Colorado to the game. I was like, boy, yeah, it was crazy. I was like, dude, that was, yeah. So he like just showed up out of nowhere. I'm like, dude, somebody's like, Charlie, somebody wants to see you at the door. I'm like, bro, I don't know a soul.
Yeah.
Colorado. Go outside, Amp standing outside. I'm like, man, come on in. Joe is in the locker room. Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, guys, look, real quick, 2 minutes apiece. 2 minutes. So we can get up off here and let y'all get back to y'all families. Mac, we're going to start with you. 2 minutes. What you think about this Deion Sanders thing?
Like Deion, he ain't putting no tombstone in Jackson State, man. Everybody's trying to move around and do what they got to do to get better, man. He went there. He did what he's supposed to do at Jackson State, So they bad at him leaving, man. I think, Deion got a plan. Y'all know Deion. Deion ain't no fool, man. Far from he got a plan. Now, what the plan is, we all don't know. But he's elevated everybody at that school and the schools in that conference. So why are they mad? They need to figure out what he's doing. Now, you might not be able to do it like Deion doing it, but y'all can pick it back off that. He's giving y'all the blueprint. Take it. You know what I'm saying? So now you can't be mad because anybody at that school that's going to get a better job is going to leave, man, and do what they got to do in a better way. So I have no qualms about it at all.
What's up, Black? What you think about Deion, man?
I agree 100%. I was at Texas College, which is a smaller HBCU in Tyler, and some of the same issues I had just trying to get recruits in there. I didn't have Deion's status, but it's tough trying to build a program when you don't have the help and the resources that you need. So why would you get upset? Like Max said, he elevated the program and the whole conference, got them on national TV, built all these facilities. I had some ideas similar, obviously not the same resources, and I couldn't get it done. And the fact that he was able to get it done in a 3-year span and got offered another opportunity, because that's the same thing my plan was. Give me 2-3 years and I'm trying to get up out of here. Because everybody's goal is to get elevated. Nobody wants to stay the same. There's no such thing as coaches. Like he said, either you are getting hired or you're getting fired. Nobody stays places anymore that long. So I'm happy as hell that he got that opportunity, and I hope he knocked it out the park, because there's not enough black head coaches to begin with. So I'm 100% behind him.
What you think, Charlie?
Man, my perspective is the same, man. I have a little different perspective because I know him personally, and I watched Shador and Shiloh and them grow up, here in Dallas, and so the goal is always to leave a place better than it was when you got there. Right now I'm a grade level administrator at my school. I teach leadership at my school, but I want to be a principal. I'll be a principal. But the goal is to leave places better than you got there. And so if you're not looking to elevate, you're not looking to grow, if you're not looking for the new challenge or the next thing in life, then you might as well go ahead and have a funeral, because you don't ever stay the same. You either get better, you get worse. You never stay the same. And so he did a phenomenal job at Jackson State. He came, he brought notoriety, he built facilities, he put them in a spotlight that had never been before, and he elevated the program. And the program as a whole is better than it was when he first got there. And that's the thing that every coach should want to, or every person that's working for a company or a school or whatever it is that you're doing. Whenever it's time for you to leave, and it will become a pastor at the church, it will be time for you to leave. You just want to make sure it's better when you leave than it was when you first got there.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you guys are saying about Deion. Mac, your dream job is to be the head coach at what college in America? If you could pick one school, Mac, where would you want to be the head coach at? One school. You get one chance, one school. Where would you want to be head coach?
Oh, that's a good one. One school, I'm gonna have to go to the bottom down there in Miami, man. I might have to go to the bottom down.
Black, you get one school, one chance. Where would you want to be head coach?
Me and McDowell gonna be rivals. Gonna be at Florida State. First team we played against, our first road trip. I love me some Florida State, and second to Tech, obviously. But yeah, Florida State, I think, would be an ideal job.
Chuck, one school, one shot, 1 year. Where would you want to be head coach?
The University of Oklahoma.
University of Oklahoma.
Homer.
All right. I'm gonna stay in tradition. I'm gonna do what every other coach do. I'm going for the money. I'm going Notre Dame. I'm going Notre Dame.
Good luck for recruiting.
Texas, because Texas got that money too now.
Yeah,
well, I just couldn't, Mac. I just couldn't bring myself to say it though.
No, not that thing. Yeah, never.
Hey man, I love y'all, man. I love y'all. I promise I do, man. Thank y'all for coming on. Thank y'all again. We about an hour and 20 minutes in, man. That's enough. I ain't gonna keep y'all from y'all families. We're gonna have to do this again, man.
I'm ready for it. Let me know.
We're gonna have to do this again.
Yes, sir.
So on behalf of Charlie Biggurs, Rodney Blackshear, Anthony McDowell, I'm Kevin Walker. Thank y'all for tuning in and watching What He Said with Kevin Walker. See y'all next time.
Peace.
All right, fellas.